guys, I'm coming to you from my living room, very au natural. Don't even have a bra on because I'm just keeping this video super real. I'm answering your questions that you've asked me. I actually put a poll out on Instagram last week asking if we bumped into each other, socially distanced, of course, what's one thing you'd want to ask me? And you guys gave me such good questions that I thought I would make a whole video just answering your personal questions for me. But first, make sure that you hit the subscribe and the bell because I come at you every Monday with new videos for time-saving, money-making, stress-reducing tips and tricks for you and your business. Right, Walter? Also, like, how can you not watch a YouTube video and subscribe to a channel that has like a big fluffy dog? Come on, it's obvious. Here we go. These are some really good questions. I might have to skim some of them. Well, first of all, Just Hair by Justine says, I don't know, I feel like I know everything about you. I guess I kind of am an overshare. If you don't know, I have a whole podcast called The Anxious Creative where I overshare, I overanalyze, all that stuff. So Justine, I guess that's not even a question. I love that you think you know, that you feel like you know everything about me. So maybe this is just where I end this video? I don't know. How do you deal with closing again? That's Coiffure by Melly. Man, this is such a tough one because I know across the globe, like the UK's been shut down, California's shut down, here in Alberta's being shut down. I know everybody's kind of on pins and needles with like, what's going on or are we shutting down? I think the most important thing I've learned recently is I was listening to the book Burnout by Amelia and, oh, I'm totally blanking on. Nick, do you know the other name? Nakoski, Amelia and her sister, Amelia Nakoski and her sister. I am so sorry. But the book's called Burnout, and it talked about how when you have a really strong inner critic, it's not always great to be like, look on the bright side. And when people say that stuff to us, it's like those of us with strong inner critics, it's really frustrating because we need to be able to feel those feelings because that inner critic's so loud. So I don't want to say like, just think about the positives and like spend this time doing this. Like we're going through a crap time of like this year just sucks. And so I think allowing yourself to feel it, dealing with the fact that it is what it is, and then giving yourself that moment to feel it fully and then trying to become creative. Like I like challenge. I like to think of things as challenge. So like, okay, this is a new challenge in front of me. What do I do with this? What's next? Like, how do I maneuver through this? How can I get creative and innovative? How can I get a little scrappy in order to find ways? And there's so many ways. I actually teach inside of my program, Rock Your Business, which by the way is opening up for enrollment in January. And you're going to want to click the link in the description below to get on the wait list because there is some good stuff coming for only the people on the wait list. But I teach how to make money outside of doing your client's hair, which is going to be a huge thing. Could we keep it down in the kitchen over there? We've got a lot of background noise going on. Do you need to do something? You can just let me know. I think that's the answer to that question, is how to deal with closing again is just rolling with it. And I know that's not like, without getting into like huge strategy conversations that I could make hours and hours and hours of film, is do the best you can with what you've got. And your best is going to look different every single day. Inception Exclusive Salon says, want to go for nachos and margaritas? Yes, I absolutely do. Judge X Heather says, how did I book up brand new in a city where I knew no one in under 12 weeks? If you guys don't know this story, 6 years ago, September 21st, I believe, 2014, I moved to a new province in a new city here in Canada. I knew no one. I had no clients. I didn't even know where I was going to work. Within a week, I decided I can't go work somewhere else. I got to do my own thing. Like I was thinking of chair renting and all that stuff. And I was like, no, I still need control over my own space. Also, did you guys like how like I'm like very casual right now? I've got socks rolled up to my knees. I've got my hair in like 2 little ponytails, but I did put earrings on for you. You know, got to keep it a little bit classy. Anyway, just in case you were wondering like, why am I learning business advice from this like person on like very loungewear couch? I just keep it real with you. But how did I get busy within 12 weeks of moving to a brand new city where I knew no one, booked months in advance, working from my basement? Yeah, I just used my talking to strangers method, which if you've never heard me talk, I go live on Instagram every weekday morning to just chat with you and help you with your business. But yeah, I literally just talk to strangers. And what I decided to do is I took the 14 years of me being in the industry at that point, and I looked at what had worked and what hadn't worked when I'd built my clientele on 3 different continents, 6 different times, moving and starting all this stuff. It's a whole story I won't get into. But I just looked at what worked and what didn't, and then I decided I wanted to be kind of lazy, because I don't know about you, but I'm like totally a lazy person. Like, I want to be efficient. And I originally thought I'd get business cards and I'd go out on a busy street downtown and hand out my cards. And then I realized, oh, we have social media. I kind of hate it, but kind of love it. I'm super lazy. How can I reach the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time? And I just started looking up local hashtags and looking at people that I would want, like the kind of hair that I'd want to do and the kind of person that I'd want to have in. And I started connecting with them. I started liking their posts. I'd write down their handles so I'd come back to them like a couple days later. Also, this carpal tunnel, I think I don't know what it is. I should probably go see the doctor. I'd start talking to people. I'd invite them in. I'd tell them I love their hair. Just like really casual. It wasn't like cold calling. Like when we get those like DMs being like, do you want 5,000 new Instagram followers? Or like, want to earn some extra money in your business? And you're like, who is this person? Where'd they come from? I don't suggest that with strangers. Think of it like a party. Like if just some rando person came up to you and asked you to marry them or start dating them, even if they're drop dead gorgeous, you'd kind of think it's kind of weird, right? You want to just like warm up to people, like get to know them, say hello, lead with a compliment. So that is my talking to strangers method. That is absolutely how I got booked in under 12 weeks, months in advance. Is I started giving compliments to strangers. And I did it online because I could reach multiple amount of people that were the right kind of people. And it worked great. But you can do this in person. I know COVID right now, it's a little bit harder. Maybe you see some really beautiful hair at the grocery store and you say, excuse me, from 2 meters away, and tell them that they have really beautiful hair. But yeah, that's really, really as simple as it is just talk to strangers. So I love that you asked that. I've flipped my clientele like 3 or 4 times in the 6 years that I've lived here because I decided I no longer was going to sacrifice my goals for my business because I was scared of raising my prices or changing my schedule because I was scared I was going to lose clients. I have hacked the system only through trial and error of learning what's worked and hasn't worked over the last now almost 20 years of my career. And so I'm not scared to lose clients because I always know how to gain them. I'm not scared to raise my prices and lose people because I know I'll find people who value what I do. I'm not scared to change my schedule because I know I'll find people. That's it. Okay, next question. What must have been in your mind when you moved to a new place and started over? I think I was just like blinded by it. Nick, do you want to chirp in on this one? What was in my mind? Do you remember when I moved here? What was I thinking?
With work?
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
Holy crap, I'm doing it. I don't think I really gave it a second thought.
You just wanted to do it differently than you did before. You wanted to do it with boundaries and
I wanted to do it differently. I don't know if you can hear him right now. With values, I wanted to be treated differently. I wanted to be respected. Flash forward, it didn't turn out that way because I thought people were just going to automatically respect me more in this new city. Turns out I needed to learn how to communicate better, how to have better boundaries. But I was excited about this fresh start because I'm like, things are going to be different. And everybody in my life except Nick was like, what are you doing? This is crazy. So I don't know where I left off. My memory card filled up and I don't remember where I last left off talking. I think I was full of a lot of hope. And despite people telling me I was nuts to, sell the house I had been working on paying off, it was like my dream home. It was like the ultimate girl's place. I was earning over 6 figures. I had a successful business. I was in my 30s. I was 31 years old. And people thought like, what are you doing? You're like throwing all this security away at like a hope and a chance. And I just like to say to those people, told ya. I don't know. I'm ambitious. I have good work ethic, I think. I'm really lazy, so I find strategic ways to get things done in less time. And I think if I think things through too much, I talk myself out of it. So I just trusted my gut for a lot of it. And my intuition told me this was the thing to do and that, even if I fall flat on my face, there's been many failures over the last 6 years. Many. Actually, just yesterday we were cleaning out the salon because the salon is getting renovated. And it was like interesting to go through these like, oh, I remember this Vivids phase. Oh, I remember this bridal hair phase. I remember when I really wanted to do this and realizing how many things I tried that didn't really stick that ultimately led me to where I am right now. So I'm so thankful for them. So yeah, lots of doubt, lots of fear, but I also just didn't dwell on it because I trusted my gut so much. And, for a while, like, I don't know, talk about my personal life, like through my marriage and my divorce, I lost touch with my gut. Learning to trust that again and take action on that gut intuition has not not led me wrong yet. Whitney.cosmo says, number one tip for stylists trying to grow. Don't just try to do what everybody else is doing. Try to be different. Try to go against the grain a little bit and trust your intuition, but do not give up. I think the first 5 to 10 years of my career were the hardest. Like now, and I'm not saying like, just wait till you're 20 years in, it gets super fun. I don't want you to think that, but there was such a learning curve in the first 5 to 10 years. The first 5 years for sure, I felt like I was just like honing my technique, learning how to do hair, learning how to understand like, oh, this person's hair does this when I do this, but then this person's hair does this, like just learning, like just gathering information of different hair types. Oh, Walter, am I boring you? And then this, like at year 10, when I went into business for myself, I don't even remember what the question was anymore. Oops. Is get creative and get innovative and stop looking for answers outside of yourself. Honestly, and I know I'm kind of like doing a disservice for my own education there. Like, don't just look for the answers in what works for someone else. Find what works for you. And align yourself with people that you relate with, because there can be an amazing educator out there that it just like the way they've learned and the way things have worked for them maybe doesn't align with you and your personality. Or, you know, maybe you're like me and you have really crazy social anxiety. And so the thought of like doing things, maybe someone's telling you to like, you know, I even am telling you to go talk to strangers, but I'm always saying lead with a compliment, like find what works for you. And just because someone's telling you that this one way works doesn't mean it has to be the only way, but also don't convince yourself out of, I know I'm kind of like talking in circles here. Don't convince yourself out of something because it's going to make you uncomfortable. And a lot of times we like convince ourselves because we feel a little bit of fear about getting uncomfortable. We convince ourselves that it's dangerous. Like, well, what if this happens? And we need to kind of go full circle. Like, what's worst case scenario? I give a stranger a compliment because I'm trying to grow my clientele, and they kind of give me a weird look and walk away. That sucks, but you'll be okay. Most likely when you give a stranger a compliment, one, we are starved for connection right now, this year for sure. Giving someone compliments not only going to make their day, it's going to make your day, and also potentially leads into a conversation. So get uncomfortable would be my number one tip, I guess. I don't know how to give a straight answer, clearly. Get uncomfortable, don't stop growing, but also give yourself time to rest. Don't push yourself to the limit. I am not part of hustle culture. You need to rest and rejuvenate. Here we go. Estelle Academy says, favorite, worst, underrated, Backstreet, NSYNC, and Jonas Brothers. And I have to pick out of those three. So obviously my favorite's Backstreet Boys. Worst, I would say, is Jonas Brothers, just because I was never into them. And underrated would be NSYNC. Yeah? Okay. Oh, this is a really good question. I like this one. Is there also luck involved in life, or is it all hard work? What do you think?
Totally luck.
Nick goes, it's all luck.
Not all luck, just a lot of luck.
You think? Yeah. I don't think it's all luck. I think you think it's all luck?
I didn't say all luck, there's a lot of luck.
Do I think it's all hard work? No. I think there's sometimes being the right place at the right time. Do I think it's all luck? No, but I do think we have a lot more control over our circumstance than we realize. Now, obviously, Nick was just making a really good point that you can be born into certain situations and things like that. However, there's like many stories of people coming from all sorts of there's people coming from tremendous backgrounds of wealth and losing it all. There's people coming from nothing and gaining, like there's so much that plays into life. I think hard work has a huge, obviously I only know my life, right? I haven't been handed anything. No one's paid my way for anything. I've built my entire business without ever going into debt, without ever taking a loan. The only debt that I have as a human and that we share is our mortgage, because we've been really diligent with how we do things. And so that's talking about like finances, but also like, okay, let me tell you this story because I think this goes with luck. I got asked to go down to ISSE or ISSE or however you say it with Cosmoprof Beauty in 2016, January 30th. They asked me to come down for a photo shoot. I was so excited. There was one client I couldn't move her appointment, and so I decided not to go. And that client's hair fried off. If you've ever heard me talk about the story of frying someone's hair off, holy cow, that's like for another video another time. But within 10 minutes, clay lightener, her hair completely fried off. And so I then watched everybody that took part in that photo shoot for Cosmoprof. They all got to be on the cover of the Cosmoprof catalog. Their careers exploded, and there I was like spiraling in anxiety. And I remember being like, "What friggin' luck is that? Like that sucks." I got asked. I couldn't make it because I was trying to make sure that I was a good hairstylist for my client, and then my client's hair freaking melts off after 10 minutes of clay lightener on her hair, like crazy heat reaction. And then I spiraled for like 2 years of intense anxiety. So I guess you could call that bad luck. But now I look at it and think like, if I would have continued down that path, if I would have gone down to California, if I would have been part of that photo shoot, my career would have exploded in that way, I wouldn't be able to help the people that I'm helping, like you watching this right now, in the ways that I'm helping, because I wouldn't have experienced that stuff. So I think like, yeah, maybe there's luck involved, but there's also hard work, but there's also like making the best out of the circumstances. So I don't believe that we're like always deserving of what happens to us. We suffer the consequences of other people's actions a lot, but I think we also have a choice to move forward. Obviously, there is flexibility in there and there's different circumstances, and I can't cover them all, but I don't think it's all luck. I don't think it's all hard work, but I do think luck and hard work play a factor sometimes. Ooh, okay, the Peach Pit Salon says, how do you deal with the days you feel like the hair just isn't hitting? Ooh, yeah. So I feel like the best thing I can say is read the book, The Four Agreements, because it talks about doing your best and how your best is going to look different like depending on the day. So your best when you're feeling sick is going to look a lot different than your best when you're feeling great. And so I want you guys to remember that. Just show up and do your best. And like, a baseball player hits a home run less than 1% of the time. Less than 1%. So stop thinking you have to hit a home run every single client every single day. What advice would you give someone who's ready to venture out on their own? I would say don't give up. Keep pushing forward. Get scrappy. Be innovative. Do it the way you want to do it. I decided to do things differently when I went out on my own, and people cautioned me. They're like, Dawn, nobody else has done this. And I'm like, cool, I don't want what everybody else has gotten, so I'm going to do something different so I can get what I've gotten. So trust your intuition, be scrappy, be creative, but take care of yourself in the process. I pushed myself way too hard. I thought my lack of boundaries was a form of excellent customer service. I prided myself on like, look, I'm coming in on my day off. Oh, look, I'll stay late for this person. Look at how like I'm amazing, and like fed my ego. And then I burnt out. And so if you're maybe like already out on your own, or you're thinking about it and you're like, Dawn, that's not me. I like working 12, 14-hour days. No. Like call me a couple years, friend, because like then we'll chat. Hair by Sar says, can you mentor me? Abso-freaking-lutely. If you want to get mentored by me, if you like feel like we jive, please go get on the waitlist for Rock Your Business. DawnBradley.com/RYB. The link is in the description. That is how you can get mentored by me. It's my group mentorship program. It is going to be opening up in January of 2021. You do not want to miss it. Get on the waitlist. Chel's Brain says, how did you become so awesome? Oh, thanks, girl. I just started loving myself and stopped fearing what other people might think of me. And here's the biggest thing that I learned in that is I was so scared of what other people might be thinking of me because I knew how I used to think about other people. Oof. I used to be, I still am. We're humans. We're judgmental by nature. I didn't realize how much of a judgmental person I was until I started fearing judgment from other people. The moment I started being more compassionate towards other people, the moment I stopped looking at people's beginnings and going, oh my gosh, how embarrassing, right? I started commending them for being like, good for getting started, good for being messy, good for starting and sucking at things. Like we would never look at a toddler learning to walk and see them take a step and fall down and go, oh my gosh, do not try that again. You totally sucked. Right? Like when a toddler learns to walk and they fall over, we cheer them on. We tell them to get back up. We like, keep going. You've got this. But yet at some point in our lives, we start getting super critical of ourselves. And we start thinking, oh my gosh, I totally fell over doing that thing. I should never do it again. I'm such a failure. No, you have to continue to show up and you have to continue to fall over to get better. And so that's how I became so awesome, if you think I'm awesome, is just getting comfortable and being compassionate towards other, which then had me more compassionate towards myself. And being okay with showing up in Lulu's with socks up here, 2 little pony nubbins, and some good hoops, sans bra. For you guys. Only for you. We've got so many in here. I feel like I almost need a part 2. We've got another Where the Nachos At Girl. If you guys don't know this already, I'm obsessed with nachos. I'm obsessed with nuggets. And I love a good caffeine-free Diet Coke. I want to raise my prices, but it's a pandemic. Not a question. Good statement. I will help you raise your prices. Get into RYB waitlist. Hair by Zaylee says, what kept you motivated during hard times in the hair industry? I'm not gonna lie, you guys, there's been many days I've laid in bed and cried. There's been lots of times that I just feel like, what am I doing? What's the point? Like, why do, like doing hair, I'm just like giving in to the vanity of this world. Like, is this even helping? And I had to find like a purpose of like, I want to help people. And so before I got into education, when I was just behind the chair, I really just thought about like, how can I know this is such a vain thing and I don't want it to be just about looks and appearances. How can I help shape women's confidence in the chair? And how can I show up and create an experience that makes people walk out feeling a little bit taller, feeling like if I can do something externally that helps shift something internally, that's what motivated me. And that's really what's helped me. And now with my education, I love that I can now help other people bypass some of the struggles. I don't know if you know, but I ended up in the ER with a stress-induced panic attack thinking I was dying because I worked myself into such a rut. And I want you to avoid that. So with everything that I teach, with everything that I come at you each and every week in these videos, is to take things off your plate, to remove stress, to remove work, but increase income so that you can start having the life, the business, and the bank account that you've always dreamed of. I can't even get to all of these. I wish I could, but last one. Delaney JSL says, how to keep business going in a small town. Okay, I have so many of you guys that are from small towns and I love it because lots of times like social media doesn't work in small towns because it's a small town. Like why look up a local hashtag when you like legit know everybody in town? But how to keep business going in a small town is to get creative and have fun. Like make some games about things, have some specials, get people looking forward to things. I teach inside of my programs like get a newsletter going. Maybe it's a monthly newsletter. I got my clients used to every first of the month, they got an email that there was a special on. I usually put my retail on special because news alert, do not discount your service prices ever. That's what I stand by. But I would put a new retail special on. People looked forward to that. They got excited about it. I had events. So I know right now in COVID, it's a little bit different, but like you could have a outdoor scavenger hunt for people to find things. Be like, I just left a full-size shampoo in this park. First person to go get it. Like create some excitement and fun and the news will start to spread in your small town. I could go on about this forever because I like creating fun. I think I'm like an Enneagram 7 who's like freedom, fun, blah, blah, blah. But I think like making it fun, being different, and I know different is scary in a small town, right? You don't want to be too different, you don't want to be the talk of the town, but making it exciting and fun and drawing attention, be like outside of what you do, creating an experience over an appointment. All right, you guys, I literally can't go through all of them. Let me know what you think about this. Do you like this style of YouTube video? Do you enjoy watching this? Do you like getting your questions answered? Blah, blah, blah. All right, well, I'd say it's time to go relax, but clearly I am very relaxed already. Walter Slade here, so good for this video. But thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you'd like to see next. I'll connect with you in the comments, and I'll see you next Monday. There's some videos around me right now that you can check out that you're gonna really love.